So in this video, we're going to be going over your thermostat and how you can troubleshoot that. Now, if you take the faceplate off your thermostat, you're going to find that you've got a terminal strip here. And on that terminal strip, you're going to have several different terminals that go from W, Y, G, O, R, B, and C. Now, here's where knowing what your thermostat terminals are and what they control become very important. So your W terminal controls your heat. Anytime you make a call for heat, your furnace is going to turn on, your indoor fan is going to turn on, and you're going to heat your space. Y is your cooling call. Whenever you make a call for cooling, your outdoor condenser is going to turn on, your compressor is going to turn on, your indoor fan is going to turn on, so you can cool your space. G is your indoor fan motor. So if you've got your thermostat plate here and you switch your fan from auto to on, like that, that energizes the G terminal, which energizes only your indoor fan. So instead of the fan coming on, the indoor fan coming on with a cooling call or a heating call, the fan comes on all by itself, irregardless of what you're calling for, or if you are calling for anything. You could be calling for nothing. You could have the switch set to off and still turn your fan on and circulate air through your space. Your R terminal should be thought of as the hot leg of your circuit. So for example, on your 120 volt circuit here, you've got a black wire, which is your hot, and you've got a white wire right here, which is your neutral. R is the hot leg or the black wire on a thermostat. C, which is known as common, is your white wire or your neutral when it comes to your thermostat. Now you're only putting 24 volts through this thermostat, but still you have to have a hot and a neutral, or in this case a hot and a common. So when you turn your thermostat on, for example, if you make a cooling or if you make a fan call and you switch your fan from auto to on, what's happening is the power that is sitting at the R terminal is switched to G, which powers your indoor fan. So if you had a customer call in and say, hey, I'm trying to run my air conditioning here and nothing's happening, and you get over there and you see that indeed thermostat's set to cool and nothing's going on. Well, one way you can determine whether you've got a bad thermostat is you can jumper the thermostat. Now, the first thing I would do is I would switch the fan to on. And if I still get nothing, then I'm thinking, well, the first thing I'm going to check is going to be the easiest, which is going to be this thermostat. So like I said, you pull the faceplate off and you jumper the thermostat. How do you jumper it? You make yourself a little jumper with a strip of wire here. You strip the ends off so you got the copper wiring exposed, and then you simply do the job of the thermostat, which if its job is to send power from the R terminal to the to the G terminal when you're making a fan call, then you simply take your wire and you place it from R to G. Now there's little metal screws right here, screw heads, and that's all you gotta do is place your jumpers there. So you take one, you put it on R, you take the other, you put it on G. If your fan turns on, you know your thermostat's good because your wiring's obviously good. Every part in the system is good. You don't have a broken wire, you don't have a bad relay, you don't have a bad fan motor. What you have is a bad thermostat. But she said she wasn't getting anything with a cooling call. So which terminal is used when we make a cooling call? It's your Y terminal. So then, just to double check, we go from our R terminal to our Y terminal, and we see we're getting a cooling call. Our outdoor condenser's turned on, our compressor's turned on, and we're getting our cooling call. So at this point, you tell the customer they've got a bad thermostat, and you go ahead and you install your new thermostat, and then you test it by making a cooling call. And there you go. You've got your outdoor condenser fan running, you've got your compressor running, and you've got your indoor fan running. Now some of you may have noticed that when I jumpered between R and Y, only the compressor and the outdoor fan motor came on, not the indoor fan motor. And that's because I wasn't jumpering also to G. Now the thermostat has the ability to take the power from R and send it to wherever it needs to be. So if you're making a cooling call, it'll send it to Y and to G, because it knows when you make a cooling call, it needs your condenser, your compressor, and your indoor fan running all at the same time. But when we're jumpering it, we only got one jumper. So unless you make some sort of jumper that's got an extra lead on it where you can test them all at the same time, you can only test them individually. Which is why I tested from R to G to make sure the fan was working, and then from R to Y to make sure that the compressor and the outdoor condenser was working. Once I knew that, and I knew all my wiring was good and all my other components were good, I was able to confidently replace this thermostat, knowing that that was going to be the issue.